Hello again, it's Wendy. Today I've got a really exciting project in mind, and I think you'll really have fun with it as much as I did. We're going to be stenciling using watercolors on book pages like this and on journal pages that are just like ordinary paper, like copy paper, and paper that has been dyed with watercolors in the past, or you could use tea dyed or coffee dyed paper as well. So I got these. I just happened to go into a dollar store looking for something completely different one day, and I went, I don't need anything craft supplies, I don't need, but I'll have a look. You know how that goes. It'll only take me a minute to look, and I found these stencils that are just amazing, and they were like $1.25 each. So I picked up a whole bunch of them, and there's actually two to a package, two sets, and one, two, like all these. And there were so many different designs that I just grabbed a whole bunch of them. And then when I got home, I realized that they were two-sided, so that there was one on each side, which I'm thrilled with because there's so many uses. And this is the bag that I opened, and I will be using probably one of these. But I wanted to start with, and I did get some doubles, as you can tell, just because I didn't realize that there was something different on the back. However, I think that only happened a couple of times. Now, I had chosen one that I wanted to start with, but I think I'll come back to that because I want to show you some different ways that you can use these. Now, I've been working on two journals today because they're both ongoing projects. One is my altered book, and the other is this created journal that is in a different video. I'm going to simply put these aside for the moment and try to concentrate on one thing at a time, which is sometimes a little tricky. So I'm going to use, this is just a piece of a page out of the book that I've been working on, the altered book, and I'm going to use some of these, and I'm using watercolor. So this is what I've got for my watercolors, and if you don't have all this much, that's absolutely fine, because you don't really have to. In fact, if you've got one color, or you've got wax crayons or whatever, in fact I might even do some of those in a minute, or a little bit later on here. But this is what I have to work with because I'm essentially a watercolor artist. So I'm going to just put this here so that you can actually see what I'm doing. The first thing you need to do, of course, is to choose which one you want. And I'm going to use this one. And I discovered, to my delight, that they're adhesive. Now, one of the reasons why I want to do two different kinds of paper is because all papers behave differently. And normally when you're doing watercolors, you use watercolor paper, which just, come on, I want it to be straight, at least sort of straight. It gets a little bit staticky. There, that'll work. So you want to know a little bit about your paper and what, like I always say, practice first. Don't just launch in on your main project. Practice on some scrap first. So what I'm going to do here is mix up some colors. I want, let's say, this yellow and this green. And to do that, I'm just going to go in here, and you can see here that I already have some of this color mixed up from past painting, so I'll just leave that little puddle there and mix up another puddle of green over here. I still have a little bit of yellow in there in my brush, but that's okay because I like that kind of yellow green. In fact, this green is called yellow green. So we just want to make a nice sized puddle because I'm going to use a sponge to do the stenciling, and the sponge is obviously going to pick up a lot of the paint, so it's a good idea to have plenty ready for that. Now then, there's my sponge, obviously I gave it a little bit of a try. I tried to get one of those makeup sponges, but I couldn't find the kind I wanted today, so I'll get that another day. But I used a blue on here, and I don't mind if this blue comes into this green, but I don't really want it in the yellow. So I'm going to use a different part of the sponge. This is a clean part, and just pick up some of that yellow and just press it in here. Now, I have discovered with this book paper, it's not all that absorbent, so I have to kind of go over things. So there's that, and then I'll pick up the green, which may or may not blend with the blue that's already in there, and I'm just going to dab it on here. And that's about all there is to it. Now you can wash this out because it is watercolor. That means it's washable. And I could just go rinse it under the tap and squeeze out all the color, and there I'd have it. Before I do that though, I'm going to just pick up some of this color here while it's still damp. I'm not going to really go onto the colored part because I don't want to pick that up. But I like to keep things so kind of cleaned up. It's not completely necessary, I will admit. So there's our stencil. Now I shouldn't have gone off the edge, but I did. And you can just be careful about that. Oh, look at this, it's pulling off the color, the print on the page. Oh, that's interesting. It's also tearing the paper a little bit. I didn't think these stencils actually aren't that strongly adhesive, but this paper is particularly soft. So this is the reason you want to try things, because you might end up going, oh no, oh no. Oh, like that. The paper is very soft in this case. However, it does leave a really pretty design on the paper. So having done that, what did I learn? Number one, don't go outside the lines. Also, be careful of the paper, because now I can't really use this because of how it's torn the paper. The adhesive was just too much for it. So be sure that you check your paper first if you're using adhesive, if they're adhesive. Now, one other thing I could do would be to just cut around this and just hold it down or clip it down and leave it on the backing, and then I wouldn't have that problem. So perhaps next time I want to paint on this paper, I will do that. But I think it's pretty fun. I really like this little concept. So I'm going to just, let me see. I like things to be put away clean. So I've got a little baby wipe here. And I'm just picking up all that paint. And because this is still good, I'm going to put it back in here, because there are no babies here whose bottoms or faces need wiping, so it's all my own stuff. So there's that. Now, what we want to do from here is look at a different kind of paper. And in this case, I would like to put something on here. Now, this piece of paper is actually, I did a bunch of watercolor dyed papers all at once by making just a really big puddle of paint in this glass. I went back and forth with the watercolor into the water so that it was a really strong color. And then I poured it into a foil-lined cookie sheet and did all the papers in there. And then I put them in the oven to dry at a high heat a very short time. And I tried doing them one at a time or a couple at a time, and then I tried doing a pile of them, and it all works. But sometimes they overlapped and you got this. Now, I tried this already with one of the stencils. It did not stick on the paper. So that was, I think that was a thumbs up. So what I want to do with this now is do a stencil on the paper and use something that I can go kind of across both pages. This one is just copy paper, and I'm going to use the stencil here. It's going to come in there, and then I will move it over. So what I want to do is I want to do it very lightly. So I think I'm going to just cut it this time and not stick it on, even though I happen to know that it'll work. But because I have to peel it off again and then stick it down again, I don't want to ruin the adhesive. This is what happens when you try and think and talk and cut and plan at the same time. Sometimes the multitasking part of your brain, which we obviously have learned there isn't one, kind of goes, hold on now, no, we're not there yet. So I'll put that there and put that away, and I've got some paper clips here. So I'm going to press this into this corner and hold it because I want it to go all the way across. Now I will have to sort of hold this down as I go along, which is not a problem. So what I need to do now is mix up the color of paint I want. And I could use multiple colors. That's so easy to do. But I'm not going to. I'm going to just use a bright pink. And so let's get going on that. Let's do this one. This is Permanent Rose. Can you see that on that corner there? And you can vary the intensity just by how much paint to water the ratio is. So if I wanted this to be really pale, I just add more water. If I wanted it to be a lot stronger, then I would just add more paint. What I do want to do is make sure that I have enough volume, because sometimes if you run out and you have to start over again, the ratio doesn't come out the same. So now I'm using this little sponge again. Don't need you guys here. Let's toss that. I don't want these colors to mix, but that's okay because, well, it's obviously really wet here. I'll just take some of this paint out of here so it doesn't end up all over my fingers, which is prone to happening. There. I could use the other side as well. In fact, I think I will. So I'm just picking up some of this. Now this paper, because it has been wet before, is highly absorbent. And I have tried using a brush with it, and it works fine as long as there's not too much paint in the brush. So this time I'm being very careful not to go over my edge here. Now if I had thought about it, I could have put something under this edge, and still could, just to keep my paint from running off the edge. But I've gotten this far and have managed to be careful enough. So we'll just carry on. It's important to just kind of press the sponge into the spots, the open spots, so that it can have a chance to absorb. So there's that. Now what I'm going to do is, I don't need to wipe it off just yet because I'm still working on it, but isn't that pretty? So we need to know how far apart are these. In fact, I'm going to put this on top of this so that the design continues as it normally would if it was a longer piece of stencil. Put my clips in here to keep them in place. Now obviously it's not going to line up exactly, so that this end will look exactly like that end. But I think I'll skip putting those little things and just leave these two here. I need to move my paint over so that I've got a solid surface underneath here. So the sponge actually, when you press on it, releases color. Now you can see by what's left here how much paint I used and how much got soaked up. So a lot of it is still in the sponge, but I will dump that out in a while, or rinse it out, I mean. So now we just take that off and voila, there's our stencil. Now what happened over here is my paint was a little too wet, so then it ran underneath the stencil. If it was still kind of wet, which, well, it's a little bit wet, I'll just use this paper towel and pick it up. But I'm not really bothered by that. I think it looks really nice. So this gives continuity to these two pages. And now I can start decorating the pages. So today, because my theme is kind of watercolor, I'll just put that over there, I would like to use something else to add a little bit more to this design. Ooh, this is pretty. This is a set of Bible verses and sort of prayers that I found. I had a little set of them, and somewhere along the way the little case got lost, but they have the colors, the designs on them are watercolored, and they're very pretty. So I think I'm going to use some of those. And remember, the theme here is flowers and pastels for this one. I also have some of these little seals that I did with a kit that I have that I got for my birthday last month, and I kind of like the bee, which goes with the flower theme. Plus I've got some things like this. Oh, this one's nice, I might use that. And the rose might be a little bit too imposing, but we have a butterfly, that's also my artwork. So I'm going to just move those out of the way. I don't think I'll use that in this page because it was just on the previous page. However, these would make a nice little, oh, I know what we could do. Make a pocket out of that and put something like that in it, because this is just paper, but it could still be a nice little journaling card. And maybe put some of these over here. So I'm going to use one of these here, and I am going to first put away my watercolors. So there's that stencil. Put my watercolors down there. Clean up a bit, because then it gives you more room. You don't have room to maneuver, it's really hard to work. I also want to clean up this stencil while it's still wet. Because it's watercolor, it would clean up even dry. In fact, it is kind of dry, but I want to get the watercolor off of it, because if I use it another time with a different color, I might end up mixing the colors, and they could accidentally get brushed into the stencil spaces. Also, I must have another one of these. I like those flowers and I like the colors, but I want them to be a bit firmer. And are they even in this grouping? I don't think so. However, I think I'll get these out for now, and we might use those. Let me check my other little repository of goodies. Let's see what I've got that would make that. Aha, here we go. That's pretty. Clocks, not so much. That's kind of nice. Some more of those. This is really pretty too, but I don't know about, no, I think that's just the wrong color family for the page. As a colorist, this is something I always think of. Do the colors go together? And these ones are all a little bit bigger. And these are the tiny ones, so I think that's what I have to work with at the moment. As I've said before, I'm still trying to sort out my systems for storing things and making them easy to find. So we've got a few flowers here that I can use on this page. It's going to be just mainly a journal page. And this one, I think I might use that butterfly, but I might use a different one. And I'm kind of thinking of putting 2 of these on here and tags to go in them. Those ones are nice. That one's nice too, but like I said, it's so flimsy. Oh, I like that one. I need to take a closer look at this little pile. I dug out all of these different ones to go with this journal with the floral look. Here's all these I can use. Oodles. Oodles of them. Okay. Get rid of that one. That one's nice. So is this one. So is this one. In fact, we could use a few of them. And they're plain on the back, so they could easily be journaling cards. I love that idea of just one little spot that's like a secret. It's like you post a secret in there. Or a thought. Or a prayer. You know, like safe travels for my brother-in-law, who was going across the country the other day, and I want to put in a couple of these as well because they're so nice. Okay, plain white background is not my favorite thing. However, I think it definitely works. And with this, I'm going to just cut around the edges with these scalloped scissors. So that they look like they've been perforated. They have the lines on them, but I don't know about you, but I don't really want to cut around those. And I could run them through my CRICUT machine, but that would take the poor machine quite a while, which is not a problem. I mean, that's what it's there for. That's why I bought it, so I could do fun projects and it wouldn't take too long. Okay, so there's one. I think it can go under one and over the other, and this one maybe up along here. You have to make sure that you hold the scissors the right direction, otherwise the scallops go to the wrong side. So there's another one for us, and we'll get rid of these little bits right away. Which means I'm not going to be using these. I like these sort of soft colors, and I'll decide on that later. So what to do first here? Oh, there's another one. Just got out my parchment paper that I use for gluing, and I need my glue stick. I'm going to make sure to use different spots on this, because if I don't, I end up putting the front of the next image into the glue, and then they get all goopy, and they're no nice at all. So I'll just draw that in there. This one can go here, and for this one I'm using a different kind of glue. Do I want, now these have different flowers. What does this one say? I love the harlequin background on them. I think I'll put this here because the busier this is, it sort of anchors the page a bit more. And then use one of these up here because they have a Bible verse on one side and kind of a prayer. Thank you, Lord, for teaching me that my joy isn't to be found in things, etc. So let's put glue around the 3 edges of this. So that's nice. That's nice. That just, like I said, it kind of anchors the page. And we want to make sure that we don't get glue glooping all over the place here, because it can kind of squeeze out. And on this one we want, I think it needs to go up a little bit higher like that, and then this can go over the edge of it. Okay, so you always have to be careful that you do these things in order, otherwise it's like, oops, that one was supposed to show, that one was not. I think it's so much fun to combine watercolor with journals and gluing ephemera into place and all these things. I think, I don't know about you, but I think we need more fun. Everybody needs more fun. And it's really important to realize what you enjoy and spend time doing it. So I need you to stick down. Don't go popping up. Now I need to also look at where this is going to, how this is going to fit. I think I'll probably do a couple in each one. The reason I need to know this is, where's this little stamp going to go? I think I'm right about there. All right, so I will do the glue on this one and put it on here. Just kind of covering the bottom leaf or petal here on the stencil. And these are handy just to have. They take a while to dry, so just having it here, I can get glue off my fingers and all sorts of good things. Come on, stay down. That glue does want to pop up, doesn't it? Now, let's choose, shall we? Blue would actually tie in with this page, so I don't want that one. Let's reject. That one's quite nice. That one works. That one works. This one has, it's pretty, but once it's in the pocket, it will not show. I don't want that green. That one won't show in the pocket. So I guess we're down to these ones. I think maybe I'll do 2 in one pocket and 1 in the other. So I'll go with this. That's sticking down. I think these are so cute, and I found them online. I actually have quite a few things on my website for free. If you want to go over there and have a look, it's summerbaystudio.com. Very easy to find. I think this is the right color for this. Okay, so I just need little bits of ribbon, not a lot. And one thing I want to do is get rid of those obvious folds. So let's try going with about that length. And the way we put those in is through the back, the doubled part through the back, and then the ends through that loop, like that. And I think that's actually too much. I don't want them all over the place. I just want them to be able to show like that. So that piece is, let me see, might be about that long, and a little bit shorter. I'll just pop these in here. And one more. It turned out to be a beautiful day today. It's been quite a cold spring here, and but the trees are starting to blossom, which is wonderful. They're the cherries and everything. And I talked to my daughter last night, who lives in Vancouver, and she said all the cherry trees there are in bloom. They're usually a couple of days ahead of us here. I live east of Vancouver. There's something in there. There's something nice and flat. Hold on. I wonder if there's a little bit of glue. There is a little bit of glue there. Very handy unit is a palette knife. You just never know when you might need one. So there's our little journaling cards popped in there. There's our stenciling. I'll decide whether I want to do something else with this. I'm really not sure. I might just do a stamp in the corner. In fact, well, actually, probably a little corner piece of, or something in the corner with a stencil would be nice. I'm not even going to cut this off or take this off. Pick up a little bit more paint here. Make sure it's nice and evenly in the corner. This will coordinate the pages, so it'll kind of pull the whole picture of the double pages together. Oh, rats. It bled. It was too much wet. That's unfortunate, but not insurmountable. So I'm going to just going to go around it with a pen so that it looks like it was kind of intentional. Or unintentional but fixed. There. I like sketchiness anyway, so I think that's really nice. And there we have it. So this book is a continuing story basically, and I haven't done very much in it because it's only been a couple of weeks, and I've tried to do a video with each thing that I do. You can see here that the stencil goes through this paper because the paper is so thin and so absorbent. So when the time comes, I will probably just cover it up with something like this. Haven't decided yet, but we'll see. Anyway, that's everything for today. I hope that you've enjoyed this, and I hope you give it a try. Have a look at your local dollar store for stencils, and you might find something that you really like. If you've got watercolors, use those. If you haven't, acrylics also work. Just make sure they're not too sloppy wet. And even pencil crayons, I've got lots of those. If you wanted to just, go over the stencil, where's my stencil? If you wanted to go over the stencil with crayons, you could do that, or wax crayons. It's a little bit more work, but it's all for fun anyway. So I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching, and please take a moment and subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you come back, and I'll see you next time.